My question is revolving around the cost aspect that you've been raising. Yet you're trying to qualify this for the November ballot, which is run by the county and would cost the city more to participate in that, rather than waiting until the regular city election only a few months later. There'd be no cost then to the city for an election that they're already going to have.
Then let's be practical, okay?
Well, my practical question is, if you're looking to implement this in 2011, what's the difference between November of '08 and April of?
Probably the difference, if you're talking about, and I'll put on my politician, there's a greater likelihood there's going to be more people that go out to vote. The possibility of getting more people to participate that may be more likely would be supportive of something like this.
And one thing I'd like to add on the cost element, there is a high likelihood that the city is going to be placing another issue on the ballot this November. So the cost will already have been borne by the city. So the additional cost will be marginal. So we're not talking, would be only about $200,000. So it would be rather low.
Question, one of the arguments in favor of the current system is that the second election gives you what they call a second look at the candidates. So you narrow the field down to the top two, and then the voters get to choose among the top two. So I'd like to ask Gary Tobin, was that part of the deliberations at the chamber about the second two, and perhaps Richard, as a former member of the City Council, whether that second look is worth it, the $6 million in the low voter turnout? So.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it was our conclusion that that second look was not worth the expenditure of the money.
It isn't. It's not worth it to the environment. It's not worth it to the taxpayer that many times is inundated by mail that makes absolutely no sense. It's not.
I might add that there's an election for county supervisor, 2nd District, that's heavily contested that will be taking place tomorrow. There's a high chance that that might go to a runoff between the same top two candidates.
We had spoke earlier about a higher authority or higher power kind of mandating voting system changes. But if we really want to go after some change, what is happening at the state legislative level in terms of instant runoff voting for the Assembly and the Senate, as well as other partisan elections? I know I realize we're concerned with Los Angeles, but how far off, or what's your prediction on where that might stand?
Well, you know, Tip O'Neill once said all politics is local. And our focus is to start locally, have it work really well, and then build from there. Because once an idea works well, we believe that it will gain currency and it will gain a lot of traction. You mentioned the Sacramento. One bill that we supported last year was AB 1294, which would have allowed localities, that is, counties and cities that do not have charters, to adopt IRV, because right now under state law they're not allowed to. Now obviously here in LA we have a charter, Long Beach has a charter, and so the cities are free to adopt it. And that passed both houses, but unfortunately the governor vetoed it.
Putting as a former partisan elected representative, see, I think that you would have a much, much better shot at doing something like this once that you can demonstrate and use examples on how democracy has not been sacrificed by changing the way that we do our business, but in fact has been advanced by taking something like this, because I mean, it's amazing how bills pass and how easily they can die. And it can be over the goodwill that somebody has with 2 or 3 representatives of 2 or 3 members of the legislature, and they could kill a bill right there in committee. That could have profound impact. But once that there is something that's quantifiable, that we can show that a city as large as Los Angeles, or a city of the size of San Francisco or of Oakland, and maybe others that may join us, that it works, and that it has done the things that we believe that it has the ability to do, then it's an easier sell. I don't know how, I haven't thought about the sell on a partisan basis, but local government is nonpartisan. And it's probably a government, the most important layer of government to the people. And I firmly believe this coming from both of them. That greater impact on the daily lives of people. And I think if you can demonstrate it here, you have a much better chance passing it with a greater sample of cities that may implement something like this. Okay.